In the eastern Ukrainian city of Bakhmut, bloody battles have raged for months. Endless skirmishes in the streets seem to have drained the life from ground. The landscape is marked by deep craters and horrifying scenes. Artillery fire rains down relentlessly, reminiscent of the devastation of World War One. However, there is a stark difference from the Great Wars in the past. In the skies above Bakhmut, a sea of unmanned aerial vehicles fly tirelessly day and night. There is a completely new element that the 21st century has added to a conventional war. And a man named Ivan believes that these drones will determine the fate of the conflict in Ukraine. Drones were mentioned in the early days of the war. Wouldn't they be mentioned in final days? Let's hear Ivan's story, a tale of a 21st century weapon, often referred to as the ears and eyes of the modern soldiers, that has the potential to shape the outcome in ways never seen before. Welcome to FBNC's The World Affairs. Drones or unmanned aerial vehicles are often referred to as the eyes and ears of the modern soldiers. In the Ukraine conflict, parties have used drones for reconnaissance, espionage, and guiding aerial attack weapons. The question is, can drones help Ukraine achieve victory as the high-ranking officials in the country has claimed? Ivan Ukanstev, a stern-faced insurance broker turned director of wartime charity providing crucial aid to Ukraine's military forces, is on a mission to help Ukraine win the drone war. He squints as the February sun streams through the windows of a characterless Kiev office complex. Outside, the siren wails, signaling the end of an air raid alert, owing to military aircraft taking off and circling the skies in neighboring Belarus. Ivan doesn't flinch. He's a polite but no-nonsense character. He's here to talk about drones. If we, Ukraine, had enough drones, we could end this war in 2 months, he says firmly. Ivan, who heads up the charity Star Life, had recently returned from overseeing a drone delivery to Bakhmut. Ivan flicks out his phone and pulls up a video of 3 Ukrainian soldiers dressed in camouflage clothing on the roof of an apartment block in the war-torn outskirts of Bakhmut. One of the soldiers pulls a pair of FPV, first-person view, goggles on his head. Using both hands, he carefully squeezes a set of toggles on a wireless handheld controller between his fingers and presses them gently forwards. A loud buzzing sound can be heard. A drone the size of a computer laptop lifts off the ground and out over the ruined cityscape. Another soldier holds on the drone operator's belt so he doesn't lose balance and stump off the edge of the building. This is a custom-made Ukrainian FPV kamikaze drone, so named because after taking off it would not return. Indeed, the drone that just took off from the rooftop would explode to destroy the target. No one expects us to return. As it approaches the target, the video suddenly ends. The drone explodes 1 or 2 seconds later. Videos of drone strikes have flooded social media with military and civilian channels from both sides frequently posting them throughout the conflict. Ivan has been hands-on delivering the drones, which Starlight has purchased through fundraising campaigns, and make sure that they are operational on his trips to the front line. The drone captures horrifying scenes at its attack, but Ivan says, after so many deaths, you almost become numb. You either endure it or do something. Ivan keeps himself busy and useful even without carrying a gun on the battlefield. Despite his seemingly calm demeanor, Ivan expresses sympathy for low-ranking Russian soldiers forced to fight in hellish conditions in Bakhmut. Many of them are terrified when they discover a drone hovering above their heads. By the time they realize it, it's already too late.
Nhiều người trong số họ không khỏi khiếp đảm khi phát hiện drone xuất hiện ngay trên đầu mình. Lúc họ nhận ra, tất cả đã quá muộn.
As the conflict intensifies into its 14th month, both Russian and Ukrainian sides are increasing the use of drones for various purposes, from reconnaissance to guiding attack missiles. Drones have been flying above war zones for more than a century. The Israeli flew reconnaissance craft in 1970s. An American precision strike drone were deployed for the first time in the early of 2000s. But current usage is evolving fast. Ukraine is deploying drones in at least 5 different ways. A small, commercially available reconnaissance vehicles that can fit video footage back over a short range. A small-scale improvised loitering munitions, often designed to disturb more than destroy. As more sophisticated reconnaissance or electronic warfare drones, as larger loitering munitions designed to destroy heavy armor, and finally a strike drones, whether airborne or naval, able to deliver bombs and missiles over distance of hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. 1 year on, missiles and drones dominate the air war over Ukraine, raising the question, where are the pilots? Future wars may incorporate yet more advanced drones and counter-drone systems for jamming command or GPS signals or intercepting drones before they strike. Russia's failure to adequately use such a system gave Ukrainian forces an edge in the early months of the war. Russian forces have used comparable drones, most notably the domestically produced Orion series. Other drones in this class, none of which have been used in Ukraine, include the Israeli Hamas 450, the American-made MQ-1C Grey Eagle. China's recently unveiled Winglong 3 and dozen more. China now surpasses Israel as the world's biggest drone exporter. Drone proliferation is likely to accelerate the battlefield presence. Back in Ukraine, with limited resources, Kiev soldiers have consistently adapted commercial drones, customizing their size and capabilities for various purposes. The DJI Mavic 3, which costs less than $2,000, is mainly used for surveillance purposes to combat drones such as the Turkish-made Bayraktar TB2, which requires a runway and is controlled by an aircrew in the ground control station. One notable aspect of the conflict in Ukraine is the extreme accessibility of drones. With a few $100s and some technical knowledge, anyone can use a drone. In Ukraine, some people who initially used drones to shoot travel videos have weaponized the devices by adding high-resolution cameras and explosives, turning them into formidable assassins. On the other hand, speaking of attack drones, a famous name is the Bayraktar TB2, developed by Turkey. It requires a runway for takeoff and is controlled by a pilot at a ground control station. The Ukrainian military owns dozens of these drones, each costing about $5 billion. Many call the TB2 the Toyota Corolla of drones due to its affordability and reliability. Russia also has powerful drones, including the domestically produced Orion series.
Nga cũng có các loại drone lợi hại không kém, bao gồm series Orion sản xuất nội địa.
The importance of the drones became clear from the early days of the conflict, when Kiev soldiers used them to monitor the movements of the Russian troops throughout the northern, eastern, and southern Ukraine. Ukraine's aerial reconnaissance unit, Aerovitka, made headlines early in the conflict by using drones to help intercept a Russian military convoy heading towards the capital Kiev. Soldiers used hexacopters, octocopters, and other remotely controlled drones as attack weapons at a time when the drone war had not yet escalated to the level it is today. Aerovitka's devices fly at low altitudes, below 1.5 miles, and operate within close ranges, under 19 miles. However, Russian fighter jets struggle to counter the strikes from these small drones. In the war in Ukraine, intercepting drones is much more expensive than deploying them. Using MiG-29 fighter jets, S-300 cruise missiles, and other Soviet-era weapons to intercept drones, which consume several times the value of these unmanned devices. A new generation of attrition warfare could become more common in potential future conflicts as parties use high-tech weapons to wear down their opponents' resources. In July last year, President Volodymyr Zelensky launches a fundraising campaign for the Drone Corps, calling on individuals to contribute to Kiev to purchase combat-specific armed drones. According to Ukraine's Minister of Digital Transformation, Mikhailo Fedorov, a total of 1,765 drones have been procured, costing around $3.4 billion. Approximately 3,500 soldiers have been trained to use drones as part of the initiative launched by President Zelensky. According to the news site 1945, in the early stages of the conflict, the U.S. provided 100 Switchblade drones to Kiev. Assistant U.S. Secretary of Defense Celeste Wenener reveals that Ukraine specifically requests the Switchblades. On the Russian side, they are now using drones more effectively for attacks, as well as being able to neutralize their opponents' drones, causing Ukraine to lose its advantage in unmanned aerial warfare. Russian soldiers can easily determine the location of enemy drone operators, thanks to technologies like DJI Aeroscope, a drone detection platform. Since the beginning of October last year, Russia started using what is believed to be Shahed-136 sensor drones to launch the relentless attacks on Ukraine's enemy infrastructure, open a new chapter in the drone war. The Shahed-136 has a wingspan of 2.5 meters and looks like a small airplane. It can hover above a target until it's directed to attack. In addition, Russian forces are also using domestically produced Lancet 3 drones, bringing a new nightmare to Kiev. In the crucial battles in eastern Ukraine, Ukraine staff says that drones are an essential tool for both offensive and defensive strategies. When you are on the front lines and you have drones available, you feel that you have an advantage, Ivan says. Despite the deadly use of drones in the war, Ivan says he believes that he can save lives on the front lines because of their more precise targeting. Drones can be used as a sniper, he says, adding that they can fly around buildings and other civilian obstacles to reach enemy positions. Tanks can only be offensive and artillery cannot target individuals. If a shell hits a building, that is it for everyone. Targeting Russian military threats with increased accuracy means civilians are less likely to be killed or infrastructure damaged. On the other hand, he says, drones are used as army eyes and ears to monitor the enemy and protect the Ukrainian troops. What did you do before drones? You would have to send a soldier with a pair of binoculars and radio to the top of the hill, a scenario that, he says, put the soldier at significant risk. All right, Frankie, a senior fellow at European Council of Foreign Relations, says, she believes that the most revolutionary aspect of drones in warfare is the reconnaissance they provide. All of a sudden, you get really easily 24/7 surveillance in the sky and at quite low hierarchical levels in an armed force, Frankie says to Al Jazeera. The problem is the Ukrainian military does not have enough drones to change the tide of battle. Most of the drones Kiev uses are purchased from abroad using funds through initiatives like the Drone Corps or Events Life. That much is far from enough. Events charity organization is a branch of Starlife LLC, a large Ukrainian insurance company. The organization says it has raised nearly $500,000 to buy drones in the latest fundraising campaign that began in mid-January. According to Ivan, the amount is too small. A lack of money to buy drones is still the biggest barrier separating Ukraine from victory, Ivan expressed. Ivan says in the West, many people are still naive even though they want to help. They are willing to buy the medicine and clothes. But think about that. Do we need medicine more than we need drones right now? It's like your legs are being cut off and someone gives you medicine to stop bleeding instead of removing the perpetrator. In an interview with Newsweek, Anton Gerashchenkov, an advisor to the Ukrainian Ministry of Internal Affairs, asserted that his country needs hundreds of thousands of attack drones to counter the devastating assault of Russia. They are the super weapon here, he said. We will win faster and with fewer losses if we have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of reconnaissance and combat drones. Weapons are the only thing Russia understands. So weapon supplies, ammunition supplies, training Ukrainian military are the base to deoccupy our territories and stopping the war, the official said. We need combat aviation, which has been discussed a lot recently. And also, as I said often, this war is a war of drones. They are super weapon here. The Guardian on April 10th reported that after months of fighting, Russia has adapted and increased its electronic warfare capabilities, causing Ukraine's dominance of the skies with the drones in Bakhmut to gradually disappear. Huddled in chilly basements or risking it on the rooftops of 9-story buildings, Ukrainian drone operators are present throughout the war-torn region of Bakhmut, many operating just few hundred meters from the front lines. Without them, Ukraine's resistance efforts in this eastern city would become much more challenging. However, according to some Ukrainian drone pilots fighting in Bakhmut, their biggest concern at the moment is that Russian forces are becoming increasingly effective in countering the drones they use, mainly from Chinese manufacturer DJI. They are becoming more skilled and are producing specialized jamming equipment to disable the drones, said 31-year-old soldier Sorolov. I believe that within 3 to 4 months, DJI drones model will become unusable. Ukrainian soldiers say DJI drones are becoming less effective due to Russian electronic warfare operation, causing them to lose a significant range of operation. As a result, Jihan, a computer programmer, has withdrawn from the front lines to research new drone models to counter Russia's electronic warfare capabilities. He is involved in testing the Wind Hover drone, developed by Ukrainian military with a greater operational range. It is just one of many other drones projects being developed across the country. Samuel Bendat, a drone expert at the U.S. Naval Analysis Center, believes that changing drone technology would give Ukraine a significant advantage on battlefield. He said Russia is very concerned that Ukraine would gain a superior drone advantage and use them to support the counter-offensives. Moscow also fears they would not have enough pilots or technology to keep up with Kiev's drones advancements. This is a race not only between Russian and Ukrainian militaries, but also between drones experts and their own technology, added expert Bendat. Over the past year, images from Ukraine have often portrayed a war resembling other conflicts from the past half-century. Russian forces deploy tanks, fighter planes, warships, amphibious vehicles, and attack helicopters. Ukrainians fight back with anti-tank weapons, grenade launchers, and anti-aircraft missiles. This is how most of the war appears on the ground. But there's another side to the conflict, a hypermodern battleground where drones play a crucial role in surveillance, reconnaissance, and combat missions. These technologies may foreshadow a world in which armed conflicts are conducted largely by remote control and perhaps someday by artificial intelligence.
Tiếng vù vù của chúng đôi khi là âm thanh của hy vọng chiến thắng, nhưng vẫn luôn là âm thanh của nỗi kinh hoàng, khiếp đảm. Trong hầu hết trường hợp, sự xuất hiện của drone là điềm báo cho chất nổ, tên lửa và đạn pháo sẽ trút xuống chỉ vài giây sau đó.
That has wrapped up our program today. Thank you for watching and see you next time.